this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I am, and I hope you are too.
Thank you. I
Hello,
appreciate
Judge.
it. Yes, good afternoon. Let's see, when's the SAP reset date?
June the 25th.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Officer Melton. I hope you're well.
Well, thanks. Thank you. And same to you all. There's courtroom 2. I'm waiting for courtroom 2. I don't know if they wanted to go first.
Okay, I have not seen them on as of yet, Officer Milton. We'll give them a few minutes to get on.
Okay, we can go 1 and 1 or 2 and 2. I can go first, and then when they log on, I'll let them do.
Okay, that's fine with me as long as we have all of the public defenders and solicitors in the room with us. We can get started if you like.
Okay. I have for Attorney Cook, I have position 1, 4, 6, and 7.
Okay, why don't we do those?
Okay, Miss Anderson, come on up, have a seat.
Good afternoon, Ms. Anderson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, and you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003566G with simple battery family violence. Good afternoon, Ms. Washington. Is there a history?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the defendant's second arrest. The last arrest was in 2018 out of Polk County, Florida, for possession of marijuana, and the defendant meets the criteria for UJR. Nothing further.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Desiana.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident took place June 8th, 2024. Officers responded to 4361 Ben Hill Road in East Point in reference to a fight. Upon arrival, the officers made contact with the victim, Markle Stenson, who advised that the defendant is his wife. They were arguing, and she picked up a glass vase filled with water and flowers and threw it at him, striking him in the upper torso. The officer also viewed surveillance footage from the residence that showed the same thing. Our office has been in touch with Mr. Stenson. He says they are married. They live together at the incident location. The defendant is currently pregnant. He confirmed the events in the warrant. He said nothing like this has ever happened before. Was not injured during the incident, and he's not in fear of the defendant and wishes for her to come back. So with that, Your Honor, the state is recommending a signature bond through pretrial services, a no further violent contact with the victim, FVIP, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol were out on bond. And if we could sound for Markle Stenson.
Mr. Stenson is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so. Good afternoon, Mr. Coe.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Your Honor, we would be asking, given the circumstances as related, for an SOB through the jail. Again, no further violent contact. We would object to the FVIP at this point.
Okay, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. Stenson, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Anderson.
We can go to courtroom 2 now, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, courtroom 2. Are you all ready to proceed?
I'm ready, Judge. How you doing? It's Officer
I'm-
Norris.
Officer Norris, good to see you. I appreciate it. I'm doing well. Hope you are as well. Let me just address everyone initially, since we have so many on the calendar this afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. If you have an objection to your case being heard by video, please let me know when you come before me. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. If you do not have a private attorney, we are providing you with the services of a public defender if you choose to utilize their services this afternoon. Who do we have before us?
This is going to be position 31. Your Honor, he has private counsel.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Donna Lee here for Mr. Wright.
Good afternoon, Ms. Lee. Good afternoon, Mr. Wright. Let's see, you've been charged in case 24 CR 003595E with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the defendant's 11th arrest. The last arrest was in January 26, 2024 in Fulton County for driving while license suspended. There is a 2022 arrest for battery, family violence, cruelty in the third, and aggravated assault. There's also a December 7th, 2023 arrest for battery, family violence. And it does appear that the defendant has an open case in Fulton County. The case number is 23 CR 004-099E. And that is for battery. And then there's also another open case for cruelty in the first, family violence, battery, and cruelty in the third. And that case number is 24 SC 001127. And it does appear that the defendant has an open case in Boston, Georgia for ID theft when using identity info concerning a person. And there's also a hold in South Carolina for a fraud case. And that warrant date is December 22nd of 2015. The defendant does meet the criteria for level 2, nothing further.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Walker. You're on, Mr. Walker, if you're talking, you're on mute.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 811 Juniper Street, where they met with the victim, Ms. Carla Ochoa. She advised that her and her living boyfriend were having a verbal disagreement where he punched her in the eye, causing her to have a laceration on her face. The state is aware of the history. The state will be asking for a $5,000 surety bond, no contact with Ms. Ochoa, no weapon, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. We can sound for the victim, but I do not believe we've been able to have contact with her.
Do you have any information on the 2 open cases? And
I'm looking into it right now, Your Honor.
okay. If Ms. Ochoa is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Yes, Ms. Lee.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I have some information on the 2 open cases. I represent Mr. Wright on both of those. We are working toward resolution, but there has not been any convictions at this point. He's 28. You've heard the history. He has a residence in Decatur with his, he can live there. I'm actually contacted by the alleged victim in this matter. She let me know that he arrested. I spoke with her on the way into the office to Zoom call, and she indicated that she's not afraid of Mr. Wright, and she would understand if Your Honor wanted to put a stay away in place, but she doesn't feel that's necessary. I asked her if I could represent that to the court for her, and she said she had no problem with that. That's what she said to me, if that's any consideration.
I looked at his other open cases. It looks like it's another victim. He has surety bonds on those cases, and I understand what counsel just said, but because of his history, we will be asking for a stay away and no contact.
Okay, he has a surety bond on each of the other open cases,
Yeah.
Mr. Walker? Okay.
Yes.
Anything further, Attorney Lee?
No, Your Honor, we just asked that a reasonable bond be set.
Okay. It'll be a $3,000 good bond, no further contact with Carla Ochoa. Stay away from the Juniper Street address. If necessary, he can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Anything further on Mr. Wright this afternoon?
That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right. Have a good afternoon. Thank you, Ms. Lee. Good luck to you, Mr. Wright.
Thank
So-
you. Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number 32. Mr.
Okay.
Deontay Wyatt, position 32. Mr. Wyatt, step up.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Wyatt. You have been charged in case 24CR003596J with criminal trespass and damage to property and discharge of firearms on or near a public highway or street. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor, this is the defendant's third arrest. The last arrest was March 7th of 2014 in Gwinnett County for theft by deception. The defendant received first offender treatment for robbery, and that was in 2004. The matter was sealed in 2019. And in 2014, there was a misdemeanor conviction for theft by deception. The defendant does meet the criteria for level 2. Nothing further.
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement responded to a dispute and shots fired call at 6022 Bird's Eye Road. They met with the victim, Miss Brenda Davis. She advised that her and the defendant resided at a location. They shared children together. They were having a dispute over her vehicle because she would not allow him to use her vehicle. He became irate and started to call her out of her name in front of the children. Then he proceeded to go outside and shoot his firearm into her, I believe her vehicle's tire. The state is asking for a $10,000 surety bond on discharging a firearm within 50 yards of a highway and or public street. To the criminal trespass, we're asking for $1,000 surety bond. We have had contact with Ms. Davis. I'm not sure if she's on the line. I will allow the court to sound for her. She stated that she's okay with him returning, but because this is a firearm and the children were present, the state will be asking for a no contact and a stay away from that instant location. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
If Miss Brenda Davis is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so.
I'm here, Your Honor.
Okay, can you activate your phone, your camera for me, ma'am?
Hold on 1 second. How y'all turn the camera on?
Okay, I see, there you go. I see you. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes,
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down, Miss Davis. What would you like to tell me?
Oh, I really don't have anything like major to say. Like,
Okay, has this happened before?
no,
Are you afraid of him?
no, sir.
And do you want him back in the household?
I would, but I'm kind of sure that that's not going to be allowed right now due to the severity of the case.
Okay, well, you have to tell me what your desires are, Ms. Davis. I'm the one that's going to make that decision. And if you tell me otherwise, then I'll take that into consideration. Okay, it doesn't sound okay. It doesn't
It's
sound like
fine.
it. And you're fine. You're fine, Ms. Davis. If you don't want to speak, I understand. So thank you for being here this
And Your
afternoon.
Honor, I would like to ask the witness a question, if I could.
Sure.
Hi, Ms. Davis. My name is Ian Walker. I'm the prosecutor handling the case today. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. How many children do you have with the defendant?
Biologically, there's 2, and then well, altogether there's 4.
Within the household?
Yes,
And from my understanding and reading the warrant, there was a 10-year-old daughter that was present during this
she's
incident.
not 10.
Okay,
She's only 8.
okay, I might have the age wrong, but you have an 8-year-old that was present during this incident.
Yeah, she was in the doorway at the time. Yeah.
Okay, nothing further from the state, Your Honor. Thank you, Ms. Davis.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. White, is 38 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. Your Honor, they live together. They have been living together, I guess, more than 14 years, if I remember correctly. Well, my client is gainfully employed as a truck driver, and he is financially responsible for 4 children and complaining witness, and also he completed a GED, and they still live together. And I believe this happened a little bit long ago, so there has been ample cooling period of time. I cannot remember exact date.
Yesterday.
Yesterday, okay. If my client complaining witness is not afraid of him, we would like to request for signature on bond through a pretrial and no further violent contact. And yet he has no objection to stay away. He's a truck driver, so he is actually gone a lot of times, Your Honor. That's about it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna let him out on a signature bond so he can go back to work. But from what I've heard today, I don't feel comfortable letting there be contact. So there's going to be for the criminal trespass, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. For the discharge of the firearm, a $10,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2 makes for a total of an $11,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Davis at the present time. He can have a one-time escort to retrieve any belongings that he may have, third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Wyatt. You also, Ms. Davis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Next, Your Honor, is going to be position number 12, Ms. Forehand, position number 12. And also,
Okay.
courtroom 1 is going to log on for the interpreter case.
Okay, thank you. So as soon as they do that, good afternoon, Ms. Chance. We appreciate you being here this afternoon.
You're welcome.
Once they log on, if we can put the parties into the breakout so that they can discuss. And you told me this is position 12, is that right, Ms. Forehand?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Forehand. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003585C with battery. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor. This appears to be the second arrest. The last arrest was in 2009 in Florida for battery, trespassing, disorderly conduct, and that appeared to be dropped. There's also an arrest that appeared to be there from 2002 for battery that was no prize. The defendant does meet the criteria for UJR jail. Nothing further.
Ms. Desiano?
Sorry. This incident took place June 9th, 2024. Officers responded to a fight call at 680 Hamilton Avenue Southeast, apartment 1415. Upon arrival, they made contact with the victim, Jasmine Sakers, who advised that the defendant attacked her 8 to 10 times by hitting her, pushing her, scratching her, and biting her. As a result of the incident, Ms. Sakers had multiple lacerations on her face and body, as well as 2 visible bite marks on her back and arm. Our office has not been able to reach her today. Because of her history, Judge, the state is requesting a $2,500 surety bond and no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if you could sound for Jasmine Sakers.
Ms. Sakers is on the line. She's the court now. Is your applicant? Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. My client denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. This allegedly happened on a Saturday, but the police did not arrive until Sunday night. I understand the alleged victim is a member of the Atlanta Police Department. My client has no objection to a stay away or no further contact. She has another place to live, but we would be asking for a signature bond at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
Does she need a one-time escort to that Hamilton Avenue address?
She might, yes.
Okay. It'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Sakers, stay away from the Hamilton Avenue address. She can go back to that address one occasion to retrieve with law enforcement, to retrieve any belongings that she might have there. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Forehand.
Your Honor, what was that bond amount again? I apologize.
No, you're fine. $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Shit, 2,000?
Yes, 2.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And who do we need to go into courtroom 1 besides Ms. Chansey?
I believe
I
that-
do, Your Honor. Petty
Yeah.
Kim.
Okay, so if we can put Ms. Kim and Ms. Chansey in courtroom 1 into a breakout room for us. Thank you.
Okay, Judge.
I appreciate it, Ms. Grace.
Next, we're gonna go to position number 20, Ms. Mulkey, position 20.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Mulkey. You have been charged in case 24 CR 003571E with fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the defendant's 30th arrest. The last arrest was in November of 2023 in Dunwoody for theft by shoplifting, criminal attempt, and that appears to be open. There's a 2017 conviction for theft by shoplifting and forgery in the second, a 2017 misdemeanor conviction for theft by shoplifting, September 2017 misdemeanor for theft by shoplifting, a 2017 felony conviction for possession of tools, a 2019 felony conviction for forgery in the first. It appears that the defendant has an open case in Henry County for theft by shoplifting, and ID fraud and financial card transaction fraud. Also, it appears that the defendant has a hold in Monroe, Georgia for a shoplifting case. The warrant date is April 17th of 2024. There's one FTA in 2016, one FTA in 2017, and the defendant meets the criteria for level 3. Nothing further.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement attempted to make a stop at 17th and Northside due to the defendant being accused of shoplifting at the Bath and Body Works within the Atlantic Station complex. When they got behind her and turned their lights on, the defendant fled all the way to 765 McDaniel Street, which is all the way in Mechanicsville. So that's quite some distance to travel from 17th and Northside. The state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond.
Afternoon, Mr. Ty.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Your Honor, my client is 44 years old. She is the mother to 7 children, including 4 minor children, ages 5, 7, 15, and 17. She does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. She has lived in Georgia all her life. She's not a flight risk. I understand that there is some history, Your Honor, but here she's charged with fleeing. The bond is set right now at $5,000, and she has a hold in Monroe County. So she has to, be in jail waiting for Monroe County to come pick her up. So I would ask, she has very limited financial resources. She was recently laid off from her job at 1-800-Flowers. So I would ask for a signature bond, through the jail so that she can be released to the Monroe County hold. And I would just like to point out that her last misdemeanor conviction was 5 years ago. I understand that there is history, but no recent convictions, nothing further.
Okay, I'm gonna release her to the hold, but I'm going to give her a very hefty signature bond. It'll be a $10,000 signature bond through the jail, which means that if you don't show back up for your next court date, Ms. Mulkey, then you won't be released unless you pay a $10,000 surety bond. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to get out and come back at a later time. I'm going to release you to that hold so that you can go and take care of your business in Monroe County. And no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Mulkey.
Your Honor, next we're gonna go to position number 2, Mr. Daniel Bello.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Bello. You have been charged in case 24 CR 003568G with false report of a crime. there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor, this is the defendant's 18th arrest. The last arrest was in October of 2023 for a DUI alcohol out of Hateville. There's a 92 misdemeanor conviction for a DUI alcohol, as well as a 93 misdemeanor conviction for DUI alcohol, a 2003 battery family violence, a 2014 and 2010 misdemeanor conviction for DUI alcohol. The defendant does meet the criteria for level 3, nothing further.
Your
Your Honor, this incident took place January 29th, 2024. Officers responded to a stolen vehicle call at the Hateville Police Department located at 700 Doug Davis Drive. So the defendant went to the police department and officers actually responded to that police department. Upon arrival, they made contact with the defendant, who advised that someone had stolen his vehicle from his house. He stated that he woke up between 10 or 11 a.m. and realized that the van was gone. However, there was no broken glass in the driveway. There were no extra keys. No one's allowed to use his car. The defendant made the report, and then the officers flocked the van and found the van driving around Hateville earlier that day. They did flock at 11:15 and noticed that the vehicle had no damage. And then they flocked again and found it at around 11:30, which was be about 15 minutes later. And the image showed that the vehicle was significantly damaged. While this investigation was ongoing, one of the detectives discovered that this vehicle in particular was wanted for a hit and run out of Forest Park from earlier that day. And they determined that the defendant had made a false report in order to evade the hit and run prosecution that is my understanding is happening in DeKalb County. And given his history, Judge, the state is requesting a $1,500 surety bond on this matter, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol were out on bond.
Mr. Cook?
Yes, my client denies the allegations as stated in the warrant, Your Honor. He is a 30-year resident of Atlanta and has been working in construction here for about 8 years, originally from Mexico. We would be seeking a signature bond at through pretrial.
Okay, it'll be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Bello.
Third row. Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number 3, Mr. Benjamin Rodriguez.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rodriguez. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003572D with driving under the influence of alcohol, concentration of 0.08 grams or more, discharging a firearm while under the influence of alcohol or drugs, simple battery, family violence, hit and run, reckless conduct, 2 counts. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor, this is the defendant's first arrest, and the defendant does meet the criteria for UJR jail.
Luciana?
This incident took place June 8th, 2024. Officers responded to the area of Fair Oaks Manor and Riverside Drive in Sandy Springs in reference to a shots fired call. The caller said that he heard a man and a woman arguing, and then he heard 2 shots fired, and then he heard a woman screaming near a red Mazda in the parking lot. By the time the police had arrived, there were 3 callers about this particular incident of shots fired. Upon arrival, they made contact with the red Mazda and found the defendant, the victim, who is his wife, and the party's 16-year-old child outside. They first made contact with the defendant, who smelled like alcohol. He admitted to drinking 2 drinks prior to that time, and he was rambling and incoherent. So the officer then spoke with his wife. She said that she and her husband were arguing while he was driving. She tried to get out of the car on the highway. When they were stopped, he grabbed her, pinned her down. So she struck him in the head with the phone to get him off of her. The police then spoke with the daughter, who corroborated what the mother said, essentially that they were arguing. Her mom tried to get out of the car. The father grabbed her, pinned her down, and then the mother started hitting her father. Then the father actually crashed the vehicle during this argument and then fled the scene. The daughter gave the police her father's handgun, which was a Smith & Wesson 9mm. The officers found 2 shell casings that matched the father's handgun in the parking lot. The officers just so happened to be dispatched to a hit and run earlier that day. They realized that the red Mazda from this incident was the same vehicle that was described in the hit and run. And also the defendant agreed to take a breathalyzer, and his BAC was a 0.117. Our office has been in touch with the mother. She stated that she and the defendant are married. They live together. They have a child. She stated that they lost their son last year, and as a result, they've been drinking. She said she was drinking at the time of this incident and doesn't remember anything. She said the defendant was not trying to be violent with her, was trying to pull her back into the car. She doesn't remember anything that happened after that. She said that he's never been violent towards her before. They don't have a DV history. She's not in fear and wants to continue contact. She's actually going to the state of New York to get some help. So she does not want the defendant to have a stay away from the residence. Given the severity of everything that's happening and with their child and with the firearm involved, and that this just recently happened this weekend, the state is requesting a $10,000 surety bond, broken down as follows: a $500 on the DUI, a $2,500 on the discharging firearm while intoxicated, a $1,500 on the simple battery, a $500 on the hit and run, and then a $2,500 on each reckless conduct count. And no further contact with the victim, FVIP, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if we could sound for Yvette Chico.
Ms. Chico is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ms. Chico, if you would like to speak to the court, I'll need for you to activate your camera and I'll have to swear you in.
Okay, start my video.
Okay, yes, I can see you, ma'am. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
I just want to say that this has never happened before. I've been reckless lots of the time because I lost my son and I'm really not knowing how to deal with it. And I take it out on my family, and that day it all started because of me. I tried to jump out of the car. He tried to help me. I hit him with my phone. Everything escalated after that. But I have so much to do with this because I'm the one who started it. And I would like for him to come home because his daughter's here. He has 2 dogs. And I'm going to go to New York City.
Okay. I'm sorry for your loss, Ms. Chico. Thank you for being here this afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Cook?
Your Honor, as you heard from pretrial, he has no record. This is an extraordinary event. And it obviously has been driven in part by the loss of their 21-year-old son. He also recently lost his father. This has caused great difficulty for them. He is a 12-year employee of Delta Airlines, where he's in training. I mean, he trains people. He's not in training. He trains people. We would be asking the court to take all that in consideration. Certainly not order any kind of stay away, since this is a family that probably needs to be together at this point. That he be allowed to return to his home and to his wife and children. Beyond that, we would be seeking a signature bond at whatever level, at pretrial, at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
Okay. These will all be signature bonds through pretrial level 1. For the DUI, a $2,000 signature bond. Discharging a firearm, a $1,000 signature bond. Simple battery, family violence, a $1,000 signature bond. Hit and run, $1,000 signature bond. Reckless conduct, $2,000 signature bond. Reckless conduct, $2,000 signature bond. Makes for a total of a $9,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. no further violent contact with Ms. Chico, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond, which means, Mr. Rodriguez, you're gonna have to relinquish any firearms that you have in, your possession at your home or elsewhere. Okay, good luck to you, Mr. Rodriguez, you also, Ms. Chico.
Thank you so much, sir.
Your Honor, what was the bond amounts for the first three?
For the DUI, $2,000, discharge of a firearm, $1,000, simple battery, $1,000.
And also the cruelty to the children, third degree, was that NOD?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position number 13, Mr. Tobin Green.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Green. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003586A with simple battery. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the defendant's 44th arrest cycle. The last arrest was in 2022 for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Purchase, possession, or sale of marijuana, possession of a firearm during the commission, and that was out of Fulton County. There is a few misdemeanor convictions for theft by shoplifting in 2015, 2016, and 2018 and 2022. A 2016 simple assault arrest, which appears to be dismissed. A 2018 felony conviction for terroristic threat and willful obstruction. There are felony convictions for theft by shoplifting in 2022. There is also a 2021 battery arrest. There's an FTA in 2014, 2016, 2 FTAs in 2018, an FTA in 2019, and an FTA in 2020. And then the defendant meets the criteria for level 3. Nothing further.
Thank you.
Judge, this incident took place June 9th, 2024. Officers responded to a fight call at the West End MARTA station. Upon arrival, they met with the victim, Destiny Taylor, who said that she was passing the West End Mall when 2 unidentified black males approached her. They tried to talk to her. She declined their advances, and she went to the MARTA station for safety. When she got to the MARTA station, the same 2 males were there. And the defendant spat on her, physically assaulted her by striking her in the face and pushed her. And the second male fled the scene before the police arrived. Given his record, Judge, the state is asking for a $1,500 surety bond, a no further contact with the victim, a stay away from all MARTA facilities, anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if you could sound for Miss Destiny Taylor. We have been in contact with her, Judge. She said she doesn't know the defendant at all. She states that she wants nothing to do with him, and that as he was being arrested, he told her, "I got something for you when you get out."
Taylor, if you're on the line and wish to address the court, if this is you.
Yes, I'm right here. If you guys can see me, can you guys see me?
Yes, I can see you, Ms. Taylor. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
I just don't want no contact with him, and I just want to put a PTO out on just to protect myself, just in case he tried to do something, because he literally punched me in my face, and I had to go to the hospital. So it's just like, I just want a PTO just to protect myself, because I constantly be around that whole circle, because I do work, and my child actually go to school right there as well. I do want a PTO. I don't want nothing to do with him. He's a black man. He got kids. I don't know why he even decided to even do that. But I just don't want no contact with him. I just want a PTO just in case something else happened and I see him. If I shoot him, then I won't have it won't be on me, because y'all say this and that, but he's going to come out and try to do something, and I'm going to be ready right there for him.
Okay, Ms. Taylor, this is just a bond hearing this afternoon. If you would like to get a protection order, you'll have to go to another court. I can order that he stays away from you though, okay?
You said you can't order that he stays away from me. So if I shoot him,
I said that I can order that he stays
oh,
away
okay.
from
I'm
you.
sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay,
Mhm.
so, all right, thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am.
And
Your
thank you
Honor,
guys.
Your Honor, I
Mrs.
also,
Yes,
the arresting officers here, Officer Francois, he's here, present in the courtroom.
okay, would Officer Francois like to address the court?
How you doing, sir? Basically,
Okay, hold on, Officer Francois, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
Basically, well, we made contact with the defendant and the lady in question, and it was a he say, she say. She's saying that he spit on her, he's saying she spit on. So we looked at the cameras at the Western station, and it was determined that he did push her, but we didn't say anything about spitting or anything like that. So, but I
Okay.
was the transporting and arresting officer.
Okay, thank you, Officer Francois. Anything further?
But also, you guys' cameras was out as well, so he punched me too.
Okay, yeah.
So did you see that?
They looked at the cameras at 5
Yes,
points.
it's off. You guys was out, so I have all the video and everything. So I'm gonna just because this is like I'm gonna do the right thing to protect myself. And you guys have a great day.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Officer Francois. We appreciate you being here.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you. You also, sir. Yes, Mr. Ty.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 30 years old. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He is the father to minor children. He is gainfully employed, working at Dollar Tree, and also does warehouse work and other odd jobs. Your Honor, it is, as the arresting officer stated, it's a he said, she said. My client states that the complaining witness was the first aggressor who spit on him. And of course, he's fine with no further contact. And I would ask for him to continue to be able to use MARTA, but I don't know. I mean, I think if he has to, he can stay away from MARTA, but I would ask for a signature bond in this case. I understand he has history, but I didn't hear any violent convictions. The last FTA was 4 years ago. He is residentially challenged right now, just has been for the last few months, but is trying to get back on his feet. And he has family support. He has a mother, a sister. He has his children's mother in Georgia. He's not a flight risk. The FTA, he stated that he had to move around a lot, and he is working on, getting a stable address. In this case, I would ask for a signature bond, and it can be through
Level 2, no further contact with Destiny Taylor. I'm not going to keep him away from all of MARTA, but I will, for his benefit as well, keep him away from the West End MARTA station. So he can take MARTA, but just not from that station. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
While we're on the record, I'm looking at the warrant. The MARTA police gave him a 365-day stay away from MARTA effective. This says July 9th, 2024 until July 10th, 2025. I don't know why it's a month later or if that's a typo, but he apparently does have a suspension from MARTA, just so he knows.
Thank you, Mr. Essiano. So in that case, it will be an abide by any MARTA suspension. So if he has a MARTA suspension, which apparently he does, he won't be able to utilize MARTA until the suspension is lifted. Okay, good luck to you, Mr. Green.
What level was that, Your Honor?
Level 2.
Thank you. You done. You go to the third one. Next, we're gonna go to position number 9, Mr. Willie Donaldson. Position 9.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Donaldson. You have been charged in case 24 CR 003580A with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, this is the defendant's 44th arrest. The last arrest was in January of 2023 for DUI. The defendant has a 96 battery arrest, a 98 battery family violence arrest, another 98 battery arrest, a 99 felony conviction for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, a 99 arrest for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, a 2004 conviction for simple battery, a 2011 felony conviction for possession of tools, burglary, and willful obstruction, a 2016 felony conviction for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, 2021 possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and that was an arrest. It appears that the defendant is on probation in Lowndes County for purchase, possession of controlled substance, and it appears that the defendant is serving possibly probation for that matter. There was an FTA in 2021 and 2022. The defendant does have a hold in Valdosta, Georgia for a probation violation, and the warrant date is January 27, 2023. There's also another probation violation hold with the Atlanta Marshals. The warrant date is May 10th, 2023. And the defendant does meet the criteria for level 3. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Sessiano?
Your Honor, I'm also showing that he was arrested at the time of this incident. He was arrested for felon in possession of a firearm, and that's actually how there was a warrant out for his arrest in this matter, because this matter happened May 26th. So he may have an open felony case, is my point. Anyway, this incident occurred May 26, 2024. Officers were dispatched to a dispute call at 174 Willis Mill Road Southwest in Atlanta. Upon arrival, officers made contact with the victim, Kiara Owens. That she actually was outside and flagged the officer down. She stated that she got into a fight with the defendant, who is her live-in boyfriend, and he punched her in the face multiple times. The victim sustained swelling and several knots on her head, on her forehead, her chin, and her face. Our office has not been in touch with the victim at this time. The state's recommending a $2,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, FVIP, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond, and if we could sound for Kiara Owens.
If Ms. Owens is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. Cook?
It is 50 years old. He's been in the Atlanta area for about 17 years. He's worked for 14 years for Metro Waterproofing, where he is a supervisor. I wanted to clarify is it Willen Mill Road? Is that the address you have as the incident location?
174 Willis Mill Road Southwest.
Okay. That's probably it then. We would, well, in this case, I'm going to just leave it up to the court's discretion, Your Honor.
As such, it'll be a $2,000 good bond, no further contact with Kiara Owens, stay away from the Willis Mill Road address. If necessary, he can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Donaldson.
Next is going to be position number 10, Mr. Durant. Position number 10.
Good afternoon, Mr. Durant. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003582F with battery, family violence, and theft by taking. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the defendant's 5th arrest. The last arrest was in 2022 in Clayton County for criminal damage to property, aggravated assault, and theft by taking, and that appears to be open. There also appears to be a hold with McDonough Police Department, and the hold date is September 8th, 2023. And there's also a hold with Atlanta Police Department for a simple assault with the warrant date of December 30th, 2023. And the defendant meets the criteria for level 2. Nothing further.
Your Honor, this incident took place December 27th, 2023. Officers responded to 2280 Campbellton Road Southwest in reference to a dispute. Upon arrival, they made contact with the victim, Miss Psalms Fowler. She advised that she was at home when her ex-boyfriend, who's the defendant, came to her apartment. She stated that she left the door unlocked and that's how he got in. He said that he wanted the rest of his belongings, and she had already given the belongings to a friend for pickup. An argument ensued, and the warrant says he grabbed a fire hydrant and sprayed her. I'm assuming he meant a fire extinguisher and sprayed her in the apartment. She then went into the bedroom and sat on the bed, and he followed her and sprayed her some more and then slapped her in the face several times. Ms. Fowler did sustain visible injury to her upper lip. And then the defendant grabbed her phone, it was an iPhone 11, and her iPad, threw them, and then picked them up and fled the location. The parties used to live together. They no longer live together at the time of this incident. Our office has not been in touch with the victim at this time. The state is requesting a $2,500 surety bond on the battery and a $1,000 surety bond on the theft. No further contact with the victim. Stay away from the incident location. FEIP, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And if we could sound for Psalms Fowler.
Is it Fowler?
Yes.
Fowler. If Ms. Fowler is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. Cook?
Your Honor, my client has lived in the Atlanta area for 14 years. He is not currently working. He denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. We have no objection to a stay away or no further contact. He wishes that as well. We would object to the FEIP, and we would be seeking a signature bond through pretrial.
For the $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. For the theft, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2 makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further contact with Ms. Fowler. Stay away from the Campbellton Road address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Durand.
Next, Your Honor, we're gonna go to position, actually, we can go to the Spanish Supreme case.
Okay. Ms. Chancey, if you can raise your right hand for me. Do you swear affirm that you will translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to English to the best of your ability?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I need to advise that Ms. Dominguez Neves speaks Portuguese. It seems like it was not stated which language she spoke. However, she authorized me to continue communication with the attorney. And we were able to communicate. Usually, Portuguese speakers can understand Spanish. She says she speaks a little.
What position is she on the calendar? Ms. Kim, do we know?
The position was number 5.
Okay.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Ms. Neves. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Buenas tardes, señora Domínguez Neves. Mi nombre es Eric Morrow, soy el juez para esta audiencia de cargos de trámite rápido y estamos transmitiendo esto a través de videocomunicación. ¿Está de acuerdo con que continuemos su caso de esta manera?
Boa tarde. Yes.
Yes.
You have been charged in case 24 CR 003575Y with battery, family violence, battery, and disorderly conduct.
En este caso número 24CR003575Y, usted tiene 3 cargos por golpes y lesiones simples, violencia familiar, por conducta negligente y por golpes y lesiones.
Is there a history, Miss Washington?
¿Hay antecedentes, señora Washington?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the defendant's first arrest, and the defendant meets the criteria for UJR.
Su señoría, este es el primer arresto de la acusada y ella cumple los requisitos para el programa UJR por sus siglas en inglés.
Your Honor, this incident took place June 9th, 2024. Officers responded to 520 North Park Lane in Milton in reference to a trespassing.
Esto fue, I'm sorry, June 9th, madam?
Yes.
Thank you. Este incidente ocurrió el 9 de junio del 2024 en el 520 de North Park Lane, a donde se envió el patrullero.
The caller told the police that the trespasser had a knife.
Fueron enviados por violencia doméstica y quien llamó advirtió a los oficiales que la acusada tenía un cuchillo.
Upon arrival, the officers made contact with the victim, Raul Palomares, who stated that his ex-girlfriend and him recently broke up. She moved out 2 months ago, and she came back to his residence while he was at work.
Cuando llegaron, la víctima Raúl Palomares dijo que su exnovia habían roto hacía un par de meses atrás y mientras él estaba en el trabajo, su exnovia decidió venir a la residencia.
When he got home from work, he asked her to leave and she refused. So he called 911. And while on the phone with 911, the defendant struck him in the face.
Ella le pidió que se retirara, pero ella lo rechazó y lo golpeó en la cara y después de eso la víctima llamó a la policía, al 911.
At the time this was happening, the victim had 2 coworkers waiting for him downstairs. When they heard the commotion, they went up to help him, and the defendant started striking one of his coworkers, Miss Ivania Gamez Barreda.
Mientras había ido arriba, a la llegada tenía 2 compañeros de trabajo que estaban esperando afuera y cuando comenzó la discusión, uno de ellos, Ivania Gámez Barrera, acudió a la entrada.
Both victims had red marks on their bodies, and the coworker also had a bruise.
Las 2 víctimas fueron golpeadas y la persona, Ivania, que trabajaba con la víctima, también tenía un moretón.
There was a third person, the other coworker who was also present, David Aguilera, who was concerned that he was going to be hurt, and he went back downstairs when the defendant started striking Miss Gamez Barreda.
Había una tercera persona que era David Aguilera, quien volvió abajo al ver la pelea y también el acto de golpear la acusada a las 2 víctimas.
The officers also spoke with the defendant, who stated that she brought the knife for attention, that she told them she was going to harm herself, but never intended to do so, and tried to make the victim feel bad for her so they would get back together.
La policía habló con la acusada, quien dijo que había tomado el cuchillo para llamarle a él la atención y hacerlo sentir mal por la situación y de esa manera tener una oportunidad de volver a arreglarse entre ellos.
Our office has been in touch with Mr. Palomares.
El oficial se contactó con el señor Palomares.
He confirmed the events in the warrant. He said that the defendant and he used to be in a relationship, but no longer are, and they do not have any children together.
El señor Palomares confirmó que los eventos, como están en la orden de arresto, en el informe oficial, agregó que ellos habían tenido una relación anteriores, pero que no estaban más en una relación y tampoco tenían hijos juntos.
The victim stated that they do not have a domestic violence history and he is not afraid of the defendant.
La víctima agregó que nunca habían tenido un acto de violencia doméstica antes y que no le teme a la acusada.
The victim stated that he believes the defendant just wanted to talk to him to try to get back together.
La víctima dijo que creía que la acusada quería solo hablar con él para tratar de arreglar la situación entre ellos.
And the victim stated that he wants no contact, anger management, and to stay away from his home.
Y también la víctima agregó que él no quería más contacto con la acusada, quería que tomara un programa de manejo de la ira y que se mantuviese alejada de su domicilio.
Our office has not been in touch with the second victim, Miss Ivania Gamez Barreda.
Los oficiales no han tenido más contacto con Ivania Gómez Pereira, que es la segunda víctima.
Your Honor, the state is recommending a $5,000 surety bond, broken down 2,500 on the battery, 2,500 on the battery family violence, 2,000 on the battery, and 500 on the disorderly conduct. And that's given there were multiple victims and the defendant did have a knife when she went to this location. No further contact with any of the victims to stay away from the incident location, anger awareness, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond.
La fiscalía pide una fianza bajo garantía de $5,000, $2,500 por el primer cargo de golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar, por $2,000 por conducta negligente y $500 por golpes y lesiones. También se pide que no vuelva a tener contacto con la víctima, que se mantenga distanciada de la residencia, que se registre en un programa de manejo de la ira y queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas.
And at this time, if Your Honor could sound for Ivania Gamez Barreda and Raúl Palomares.
Podemos llamar Ivania Gómez Barrera y Raúl Palomares. Están presentes en la plataforma de Zoom. Por favor, prendan sus cámaras.
Doesn't appear that they are.
No parecen estar.
Miss Kim?
Yes,
Señora
my
Kim.
client is 55 years old, Your Honor. She has been here in Georgia for 5 years.
Mi cliente tiene 55 años de edad y ha estado en el estado de Georgia durante 5 años, señoría.
Complaining witness, Mr. Raul Palomares, and my client have been living in the place together for the last 4 years.
El demandante Raúl Palomares y mi cliente han vivido juntos en el departamento durante 4 años.
That place, her name and his name are both in the list.
el nombre de ambos está en el contrato de arrendamiento.
And complaining witness brought 30 years younger new girlfriend to their house.
Y el demandante trajo a su novia de 30 años a la casa de ambos.
And my client had no chance to explain her side of the story because she didn't understand English well.
Y mi cliente no pudo explicar su lado de la historia porque ella no entiende el inglés.
She
Before you,
denies.
Ms. Kim, I'm sorry, before you go on any further, I've been informed that we do have a Portuguese interpreter on the line. So it might be better to switch over to make sure. Okay.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And before I let you go, Ms. Chansey, let's see, we don't need a Spanish interpreter for anyone else?
I will check.
Okay.
¿Hay alguien que necesite un intérprete en español? Por favor, prenda su cámara y avísenos.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we're fine.
Thank you, Ms.
Your
Chansey. We
Honor.
appreciate you being here.
All right, thank you, Mr. Miller.
My pleasure.
Let's see, interpreter Mello, if you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear affirm to interpret from Portuguese to English and English to Portuguese to the best of your ability?
I do.
Okay, thank you. If you would inquire of Ms. Neves if she needs anything repeated that has gone on thus far, I'll be happy to do that.
Senhora Neves, está me ouvindo?
Sim,
Precisa que repita alguma coisa novamente em português?
eu entendi tudo.
Entendeu tudo?
Obrigada.
No, I understood everything. Thank you.
Okay, so Ms. Kim, you can continue.
Yes, we would like to recommend for a signature on Banjiro jail and no further contact, and yet being able to return home if he leaves their place.
E nós gostaríamos de pedir, então, uma assinatura para a fiança e que ela pudesse voltar para casa se ele sair.
Anything further, Ms. Kim?
Mais
Nada
alguma coisa, senhora Kim?
Não.
She has no objection to no further contact either.
Ela não tem nenhuma objeção também.
Okay, so for the battery family violence, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Então, com relação à acusação de agressão corporal, vai ser uma fiança de $2.000.
For the battery, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial, and for the disorderly, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Para a segunda acusação de agressão vão ser outros $1.000 e para a acusação de conduta desordeira também $1.000.
Makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Então, isso dá um total de $4.000 na assinatura da fiança, que foi feita através do nível 1 de pré-julgamento.
No further contact with either Mr. Palomado or Ms. Gomez Barredo.
Não pode ter nenhum contato com o senhor Palomado ou senhora Gomes. I'm sorry, Judge. Gomes
Barredo.
Barredo.
Okay.
Stay away from the North Park Lane address.
Ficar longe do endereço do North Park Lane.
And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
E também não pode consumir álcools ou drogas ou carregar armas durante o período que estiver sob fiança.
Anything further for Ms. Neves?
Mais alguma coisa para a senhora Neves?
Ms. Kim, Ms. Tessiano?
Nothing from the state, Judge.
Nada por parte da promotoria.
All right, good luck to you, Ms. Neves.
Então,
you.
boa sorte para a senhora Neves.
Obrigada.
Yes. And thank you, Ms.
Thank
Mello.
you.
We appreciate you being here this afternoon.
Okay. Judge, do you want me to
Yes.
see if anybody else needs Portuguese?
Well, it can't hurt, so why don't, Ms. Kim, do you need something?
It's one thing, I just want to make sure if there was a one-time law enforcement officer escorted visit.
Okay, if she has belongings there, she can have a one-time escort with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings.
Se a senhora tiver algum bem ainda, alguma coisa sua na residência, a senhora tem direito a uma visita acompanhada por um policial para poder retirar suas coisas.
And I don't believe that we have anyone else that speaks Portuguese, but it doesn't hurt to go ahead and sound to ask. So if you'll do that for me, Ms. Mello.
Alguém precisa de interpretação em português? It doesn't seem like.
All right. Thank you for being here this afternoon. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Who do we have next?
We can go to ACDC.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's see. Is Officer Milton there? Doesn't appear like Officer Milton is readily available.
We'll go to position number 19, Ms. McDaniel.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. McDaniel. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003570A with simple battery. Your history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor, this is the defendant's second arrest. The last arrest was in 2007 for DUI alcohol, which was a conviction. The defendant does meet the criteria for level 1. Nothing further.
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the Pure Taqueria located on 103 Roswell Road. They met with the victim, Mr. James Wooden. At that time, Mr. Wooden was an employee at that restaurant. He reported that the defendant and her wife came into the restaurant the day previous, and they started some trouble within the restaurant, specifically with him and his girlfriend. They came back the next day, which was the incident location. I'm sorry, yeah, which was the incident date. And they started up that same argument, and essentially the defendant slapped the victim. The state is asking for a signature bond through pretrial services. A no contact with Mr. Wooden. From my understanding, he is no longer working at that location, so a stay away won't be necessary. We are asking for a one-day anger awareness, no weapon, drugs, or alcohol while on bond. I do believe that Mr. Wooden is unable to attend Zoom today.
If Mr. Wooden's on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. And it appears that this happened in June of 2023. Is that right, Mr. Walker?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Kim, given the date and of the alleged incident and the your client's history, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, no further contact with Mr. Wooden, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Do you have any objection to any of that?
No objection, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, good luck to you, Ms. McDaniel.
What was that bond amount, Your Honor? I'm sorry.
You find $2,000 signature bond through the jail.
Thank you.
And it looks like Officer Milton's back with us.
Okay.
Okay, who do we have, Officer Milton?
Position number 4, come on down, Ms. Butler.
Hey,
Ms. Butler, come on.
you're a game show host this afternoon, Officer Milton?
It appears that way.
What you see, Your Honor?
Nothing. Good afternoon, Ms. Butler. I am Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Thank you. Ms. Butler, you've been charged in case 24 CR 003574C with driving under the influence of alcohol and failure to maintain lane. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
This is the defendant's first arrest, Your Honor. The defendant meets criteria for level 1. Nothing further.
Ms. Desiano?
Judge, this incident took place June 9th, 2024. An officer was completing a traffic stop on 7585 at the West Peachtree exit ramp when he observed a black Kia K5 traveling northbound on 7585, failed to maintain his lane and strike the retaining wall. The vehicle then attempted to go back into the roadway, but its front tire fell off. So the vehicle continued to move until it came to a stop on the nearest shoulder. The officer activated his emergency lights and made contact with the driver. He observed her eyes to be glossed over, sleepy, and bloodshot. The defendant admitted to having a drink prior to the stop and did agree to do field sobriety tests. Based on the field sobriety test results, the officer determined the driver was impaired. The defendant also agreed to a breathalyzer, and her BAC was a 0.16. This is her first arrest. The state's requesting a signature bond through pretrial and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond, and no driving without a valid license.
Ms. Kim, any objection to any of that?
No objection, Your Honor. I believe this is,
This is my client.
yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Cook.
Yes.
No objection. That was SOB through level 1.
Well, it will be. It's for the DUI, it'll be a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the failure to maintain lane, a $500 signature bond through pretrial level 1 makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. No driving without a valid license.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck to you, Ms. Butler.
You ready for this one? I'm gonna need that bond amount again.
Okay, 1,500 SOB through pretrial for the DUI, $500 SOB through pretrial for the failure to maintain lanes. So a total of a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Next, we have position 6, Ms. Cherry.
Good afternoon, Ms. Cherry. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003577G with terroristic threats and acts. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the defendant's second arrest. The last arrest was in 2021 for DUI alcohol. The defendant does meet the criteria for UJR jail.
So this incident took place June 8th, 2024. Officers responded to 55 Milton Avenue in reference to a noise complaint. Upon arrival, they made contact with the defendant, who stated that she's been having ongoing issues with her upstairs neighbor, Miss Patricia Pearsall. The defendant stated that Miss Pearsall has been purposely stomping and walking heavily on the floor. Defendant took matters into her own hands and confronted her. And the police made contact with the upstairs neighbor, Miss Pearsall, who provided a video showing the defendant confronting her, saying she was going to beat her A. Our office has been in touch with the victim. She said that she and the defendant are neighbors. She stated she lives on the 3rd floor. Defendant lives on the 2nd floor. She stated this has been an ongoing issue with the defendant. The walls and floors are so thin. Anytime her child walks around, the defendant gets upset. She said that the defendant gets irate because of the noise. The police have been called out numerous times. She says the defendant has threatened to get her family members to come beat her up. She's in fear for her safety. She is scared of what the defendant may do when she returns to the apartment. Victim wants no contact, and I believe she'll be on Zoom. The state is requesting a signature bond through pretrial services, and no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the victim's apartment, anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And if we could sound for Miss Patricia Pearsall, I believe she's on the Zoom.
If Ms. Pearsall is on the Zoom call and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to activate your camera and unmute yourself. And raise your right hand for me, ma'am. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. What would you like to tell the court?
As she said, I've had issues with her multiple times. I actually filed a police report back in April of her having a text message from her threatening me as well. I've mentioned this to the leasing office. They have been no type of help, and the officer as well. He has been very negligent in this matter regarding my neighbor and the call. I have a child, and he was very present and very upset, and I fear for my safety. I have to walk and take the bus back and forth to get to my job, and I don't feel comfortable staying here.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Pearsall. Appreciate you being here this afternoon.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Cook, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I just want to let you know you're not on camera. Okay, there you go.
Your Honor, we would we would be asking for a signature bond through the jail. No further contact is not objectionable, and the stay away from the alleged victim's apartment is fine. We would object to the anger awareness.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Ms. Pearsall. Stay away from her apartment. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right, good luck to you, Ms. Cherry.
Position 7, Ms. Clay.
Good afternoon, Ms. Clay. You've been charged in case 24CR003579J with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor, this is a defendant's 16th arrest, a 2011 misdemeanor conviction for theft by shoplifting. The defendant received first offender treatment in 2017 for burglary in the first, and that matter was sealed in 2020. A 2019 arrest for simple battery with the Atlanta Police Department. The last arrest was in 2023, November of 2023, for driving while license suspended, and that was in Snellville. The defendant appears to have an open case with Fulton County. The case number is 18SC156879 for theft by receiving stolen property. And the arrest date was January 6, 2018. The defendant did appear on our MH help list this morning, just to let you know. But the defendant does meet the criteria for level 3. Nothing further.
Thank you. Sessiano?
Judge, this incident took place June 8th, 2024. Officers responded to 350 Peachtree Hills Avenue, apartment 223, in reference to a domestic dispute. Upon arrival, the officers met with both parties. The victim is the live-in boyfriend, Mr. Thaddeus Hines. He stated that there was a verbal disagreement over the cell phone, over an Instagram account specifically. They were arguing. I'm sorry, I just lost my place. She said the argument escalated and turned physical. She said that Mr. Hines kicked in the bathroom door as she was finishing up the restroom. In so doing, he struck her with the door. Mr. Hines says that didn't happen. He said that there was a dispute over an internet account, and she became chaotic and disorderly, started cursing him out, started damaging property inside their home. He was struck multiple times with a closed fist, and he had visible injuries. He had a swollen upper lip and lower lip and scratches. The police determined that the defendant was the primary aggressor. Our office has been in touch with the victim. He stated that they're in a relationship. They live together at the incident location. They have a child. He confirmed the events in the warrant. He stated that this is not the first time that this has happened, but this is the first time that the police have been called. He does want contact with the defendant because of their child, but he wants her to stay away from the residence. And he said the defendant will need a one-time law enforcement escort to retrieve her belongings. The state is asking for a $2,500 surety bond in this matter, a no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, FVIP, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond, and if we could sound for Thaddeus Hines.
If Mr. Hines is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Mr. Cook?
Your Honor, my client denies allegations as stated in the warrant. She is 32 years old and just about ready to start a job at UPS. She has no problem with a stay away. She lives in a different address. She does not live at that location. Or no further contact. We would object to the FVIP. We would be seeking a signature bond through a pretrial.
Okay, it will be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Thaddeus Hines, stay away from the Peachtree Hills address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, third-party transfer for visitation of any minor children, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Clay.
Your Honor, that's level 2, correct?
Yes, that's right.
All right, thank you.
Next, we have position 15, Ms. Knox.
Good afternoon, Ms. Knox. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003590F with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor, this is the defendant's first adult arrest. The defendant does meet the criteria for UJR jail. Nothing further.
Judge, this
Yes.
incident took place June 9th, 2024. Officers were dispatched to 4740 Navajo Circle in South Fulton in reference to a domestic dispute. Upon arrival, they met with the victim, Mr. David Millard Jr., who advised that the mother of his child and his live-in roommate, the defendant, were involved in a verbal altercation about his cell phone. She said they were arguing. He attempted to take the cell phone back, and a physical altercation ensued. He says that the defendant kicked him several times and scratched him all over his body, on his shoulders, on his knees. As he was walking up the stairwell, he scratched her, then threw a book toward him, striking him in the head, causing a minor injury. The officer did observe several scratches on the victim's body, head, shoulders, and knees. Our office has been in touch with the victim. He states they are in a relationship. They live together at the incident location. They have a child together. He confirmed the events in the warrant. He stated that nothing like this has ever happened before. He only called the police to have the defendant escorted off the property. He didn't want her arrested. He stated that he's not in fear of the defendant and wants to continue contact. This is her first adult arrest. Judge, the state's recommending a signature bond through pretrial services, a no further violent contact with the victim, FVIP, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond, and if we could sound for David Millard Jr.
If Mr. Millard is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Yes, sir. If you will unmute yourself for me.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
Honestly, I made the call only just to kind of de-escalate the situation, to basically have her go to her sister's house. But that's what dispatch told me. However, when the police officers arrived, that's when they said, based on TPL code of state, and they saw some injuries, that they were going to have to take her in. And that wasn't my intent. I don't see her being a violent person. We don't have an issue like this. This is kind of the first occurrence with this matter. I'm taking into account now, I think about it, we just had a 4-month-old. Emotions could be running high, a little postpartum in there. But we need her home. The goal was never to have her be locked up.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon, Mr. Millard.
All right.
Yes, Mr. Tara.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 37 years old. She is a Georgia resident, and this is her very first arrest. She does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. As you heard from the complaining witness, he didn't want her to be arrested. I would object to the FVIP, and I would ask for a signature bond through the jail so that she can get back to caring for her infant child. Nothing further.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further violent contact with Mr. Millard. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Knox.
Next, we have position 27, Ms. Ridley.
Good afternoon, Ms. Ridley. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003591C with simple battery family violence and criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor, this is the defendant's fifth arrest. The last arrest was in 2018 for a probation violation. The defendant does have a misdemeanor conviction from 2003 for theft by shoplifting and contribute to delinquency of a minor, and that was out of Cobb County. And the defendant does meet the criteria for level 1. Nothing further.
Do you know what she was on probation for, Ms. Washington?
I am not sure.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Sean. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 1055 Arden Avenue, where they met with the victim, Kenneth Johnson. He reported to officers that him and the defendant have a child together. That is his location. He lives there alone. Essentially, the defendant broke into his home and attacked him and his female company, striking the victim, Mr. Kenneth Johnson. To the one count on simple battery family violence, we're asking for a $1,500 surety bond. The criminal trespass for kicking in his door or knocking down his front door, as the warrant states, $1,000 surety bond, a no contact with Mr. Johnson, a stay away from 1055 Arden Avenue, no weapons raised or alcohol while out on bond. I'm not sure if Mr. Johnson is on the line, but we would sound for Mr. Kenneth Johnson.
Mr. Johnson's on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Ms. Kim?
Yes, my client, Miss Ridley, actually is 40 years old. The booking report has a wrong date of birth, and it says 27 years. The date of birth is a 1996, which is wrong. So maybe the history might be not hers. She has been here in Georgia for more than 31 years, Your Honor, and she has 6 children. And right now they're all with her sister. So she really needs to get out of the jail to take care of her minor children, Your Honor. She does not get any child support, and she does not have a child because of her second, the 2 years old child is diagnosed with autism, and he needs full-time attention to be safe. Right now, she's unemployed, so she's qualified for public defender services. So we would like to request for a signature on bond through jail if possible. We do not mind signature on bond through pretrial either, and we do not have to go back there. It is okay with a stay away and no further contact as long as he can have his children. That's it, Your Honor. Thanks.
Ms. Kim, do Ms. Ridley and Mr. Johnson have any children together?
2 children together, 12
Okay.
years old and 2 years old.
All right, for the simple battery, it'd be a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the criminal trespass, a $500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Kenneth Johnson. Stay away from the Arden Avenue address. Third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, Ms. Ridley.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good afternoon, Officer Miller. See you next time.
I don't have the game show thing going on, but we're gonna go with position number 11. Position number 11, Mr. Evans.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Evans.
Good afternoon.
You have been charged in case 24 CR 003583Y with 2 counts of simple battery. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
This is the defendant's first arrest. The defendant does meet the criteria for UJR. Nothing further.
Desiana?
Your Honor, this incident took place April 21st, 2024. Officers responded to 296 Sylvan Road Southwest in Atlanta in reference to a dispute. Upon arrival, they made contact with the victims, Hannah Adekoya and Felicia Adekoya. The victim, Hannah, stated that the defendant became disrespectful to her father and then began hitting her mother, who's Felicia Adekoya. She stated that she tried to intervene and the defendant pushed her. Our office has been in touch with the victim, Hannah. She stated that the defendant is a church member. The incident location is their church. She stated that her father is the pastor. The defendant became disrespectful to her father. There was an argument. He began hitting her mother, who is 72 years old, by the way. She tried to intervene and the defendant pushed her. She stated that there was another altercation at the church yesterday in which the defendant was arrested on this warrant. So she's afraid for her family's safety. She stated that she wants no contact with the defendant. She does not want him to have contact with her parents either. And she wants to stay away from the church. So the state is recommending a signature bond through pretrial on each count and no further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And if we could sound for Hannah and Felicia Adekoya.
If either Miss Hannah or Felicia Atacola are on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity. Yes, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Honor.
Okay, you can place your hand down, ma'am. Tell me your name.
Thank you. My name is Anna Adekoya.
Yes, yes, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
What I would like to tell the court is that myself and my family, my parents, we are afraid of Mr. Evans because he has been threatening my dad that he's going to kill my dad one day. So we are so scared about him. And this guy traveled from London to Minnesota, from Minnesota down to Georgia here. And he said anytime that, he commits any crime, he's going to run down to Nigeria. So please, we need your help. Because right now we are not safe. And all the financial document is with him, the checkbook of the church and everything pertaining to church financial. You understand? Is with him, and we want him to drop everything, and we want him to stay away from the church and he and his girlfriend, because the threatening is too much. And they disrespectful my dad all the time. He did not have any respect for my dad. He talked to my dad like my dad will be begging them every Sunday. But this guy will be telling them, don't listen to this idiot. That kind of something is ridiculous. Please, sir, your Honor, I need your help. My family should be safe because we are not safe from these people. Please, I'm begging you. I am begging you. My life I'm afraid. I don't know what to say. Please, I need your help.
296 Sylvan Road address. Is that the church's address?
Yes, sir. 1296 Silver Road. Yeah.
It's 1296?
Yes, sir. Silver Road.
Okay. And what's the name of the church?
Celestial Church of Christ.
And what's your father's name?
My daddy's name is Sikiru Adewale Adekoya.
Okay. Can you spell the first name?
Sikiru.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you being here this afternoon.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, sir. Yes, sir.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Cook.
Yes, Your Honor, we have no objection to a signature bond at whatever level the court wishes. Again, no objection to a stay away or no further contact. We would object to any anger awareness course.
Okay. For each of the simple batteries, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with either Anna, Felicia, or Sikiru Atacola. Stay away from the Church of Christ located at 1296 Sylvan Road. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Evans. You also, Ms. Atacola.
Your Honor, will
Thank you,
someone
sir.
put the spelling of the father's name in the text for me, please?
Okay, can you take it down from me right now?
Sure, if you give it to me, I will, yes.
What I have is Sikiru.
Got it,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Next, we're gonna go to position number 14, Mr. Kilgore.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Kilgore. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003588Y with reckless conduct and hit and run. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the defendant's third arrest. The last arrest was in 2022 for driving while license suspended, sale of marijuana, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. The defendant does appear to be on probation through the First Offender Act out of Clayton County for purchase, possession, or sale of marijuana. And that date that he was sentenced was April 14th, 2022, and the defendant received 5 years of probation. The defendant does meet the criteria for level 2. Nothing further.
Judge, this
Yes, ma'am.
incident took place September 17th, 2023. Officers responded to a person struck by a vehicle call at 800 West Marietta Street. Upon arrival, they met with the victim, Miss Vantashear Berger, who advised that she was hit by a vehicle at the driveway of the Westmar Lofts. Miss Berger advised that she ordered DoorDash and the delivery man refused to give her her food. She was trying to get a picture of the license plate and trying to grab her food, and the defendant drove off. He clipped her with his car and scraped her right side and her right side of her back and her right leg. She described the vehicle to police. It was some time before he was apprehended, but back in April, the victim did show up for a photo lineup, and she immediately picked out the delivery driver, who did come back as the registered owner of the black Toyota Camry that she caught on camera when she was getting clipped by the vehicle. The state is requesting a $3,500 surety bond in this case, $3,000 on the reckless conduct, $500 on the hit and run, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And if we could sound for Vantashear Berger.
Ms. Berger's on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Ms. Atai?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is only 22 years old. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He is gainfully employed as a security guard, also works as a content creator, and he's a student at Atlanta Tech. He's also the father to 2 minor children. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. This incident allegedly occurred in September of 2023. Ms. Desiano stated that he was identified through a lineup 7 months later. Again, Your Honor, he does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. He's only 22 years old. He states that the 2020, I believe the last conviction he had was from an incident that stemmed from when he was 17 years old. And he's identified here through a description stated in the warrant: brown skin, possible tattoos, dreads, and he was identified 7 months later. He denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. I would ask for a signature bond through the jail. A stay away and no further contact is fine, and I would object to an anger awareness. If he can't have a signature bond through the jail, I would ask for the signature bond through pretrial services as he is recommended. Nothing further.
Okay, for the reckless conduct, a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the hit and run, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Ms. Berger. Stay away from the Marietta Street address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Kilgore.
Thank you. Next, we have position number 17, Mr. Lapsey. Lapsey.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lampley. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003567E with simple battery. Is there a history?
Yes, Your Honor, this is
Honor,
the defendant's.
1 second, Your Honor, this is position 17, Mr.
Oh,
Lee. Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. 7, so this is Dominic Lapsley.
Say something. Yes, sir.
Okay. I apologize, Mr. Lapsley. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003565Y with battery, family violence, and cruelty to children. Ms. Washington, is there a history?
Yes, Your Honor, this is the defendant's 17th arrest with multi-state interaction in Georgia, Tennessee, and New York. The defendant's last arrest was in January of 2023 for driving while license suspended, and that was out of Gwinnett County, and it does appear to be open. There's a 2009 misdemeanor conviction for reckless endangerment in the second degree, and that's in New York. A 2010 felony conviction for robbery out of New York. A 2012 arrest for DUI alcohol. A 2013 felony conviction for purchase, possession of marijuana, and criminal attempt. Two separate misdemeanor convictions for a DUI alcohol in 2015. A 2019 misdemeanor conviction for battery, family violence, and obstructing a person making an emergency call, and that was out of Gwinnett. One FTA in 2012, and the defendant does meet the criteria for level 3. Nothing further.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 415 Fairburn Road, where they met with the victim, Ms. Raynisha Davis. She advised that her and the defendant have a child together. He came to the location. They were having a verbal disagreement, and he punched her in her face in front of their juvenile child by the initials of LD. The state is aware of the previous conviction out of Gwinnett for the battery family violence. We are working to get a copy of that disposition, so this eventually will be upgraded to a felony. But for purposes of today, the one count in battery family violence, we are asking for a $2,500 surety to the cruelty to children in the third. We are asking for a $1,500 surety. We are asking for a no contact with Raynisha Davis and the juvenile LD. A stay away from the incident location, 415 Fairburn Road. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out bond. I'm not sure if Ms. Davis is on the line, but we can sound from Ms. Raynisha Davis.
Ms. Raynisha Davis is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Does not appear so. Ms. Atai?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 36 years old. He has lived in Georgia for over 15 years. He is gainfully employed, working at a concrete company, and he's been doing that for the last 9 years.
We've got, what's his name?
He does have minor children, Your Honor. And I understand that he has some history. Most of it was very old, 2009, 2010, 2012. I understand that there is the 2019 battery family violence. And I don't know if that was a conviction. It was in Gwinnett. It was, okay. He does state that that was not with this complaining witness. And he denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. I mean, the warrant states that the complaining witness was in the car and that she then exited the vehicle to confront him. And he states that she was the first aggressor in this instance, Your Honor. So I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services at whatever level Your Honor thinks is appropriate. I was not able to get in touch with the complaining witness, so I won't object to the no further contact and stay away.
Okay, for the battery, it'll be a $1,500 good bond. For the cruelty, a $500 good bond, makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Davis. Stay away from the Fairburn Road address. Third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Lapsley.
So what's that mean? My bond is a signature? No. So with everybody popping off, that's not a signature? That's not my call.
Next is position number 18. Mr. Matthews.
You won't think I was joking like that.
Good afternoon. I'm fine. Good afternoon, Mr. Matthews. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003569C with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor, this is the defendant's 15th arrest. The last arrest appears to be June 4th, 2024 for a driving while license suspended out of Fulton County. The defendant had a 2008 felony conviction for purchase, possession of marijuana, a 2009 battery family violence in Fulton County that appeared to be dead docketed. The case number is 09CR349347. Another 2009 battery in Fulton County. The case number is 09CR353681 that appeared to be dead docketed as well. A 2010 arrest for a capital offense in Fulton County. The case number is 10SC95836, and that appeared to be dead docketed as well. The defendant does meet the criteria for level 2. Nothing further.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 1306 East Bridge Road when they met with the victim, Ms. Tiara Penn. She advised that her and the defendant had 5 children together. He essentially broke into her home and started an argument and then headbutted her. The state is asking for a $2,500 surety bond, a no contact with Ms. Penn, a stay away from the incident location, no weapon, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. We have had contact with Ms. Penn. Of course, she is worried for her safety. So she's requesting that no contact. She also made us aware that they do have a domestic violence history. I'm not sure if she's on the line, but we can sign for the victim is Tiara Penn.
Ms. Penn is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Ms. Atai?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 36 years old. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He is gainfully employed, and also is starting a business. He has recently purchased a food truck, so he stated that he doesn't have any money for bond. I did speak with the complaining witness, and what she told me is that she would want no violent contact with him since they do share the children together. And she said that this incident happened April 6th, 2024, and that they've been fine since then, and that she wants him to stay away from her home. She stated that she called the police because she wanted him to get out of the house, but that everything's been fine. She just doesn't want him to be at the home. So I would ask for no violent contact because that's what she indicated to me. She said that she wants to, work out, seeing they share children together. She didn't state that she's afraid of him or that she doesn't want contact with him. And this did happen about 2 months ago, Your Honor. So I would, and I think he's only charged with the simple battery family violence, not the criminal trespass.
Yes, that's correct. Well, that part of what you said is correct, but
Okay. Okay. And so, Your Honor, I understand there's history, but no convictions other than a 2008 conviction that's 16 years ago. So I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services at level 1, and no violent contact and the stay away. Nothing further.
so like I said, we did have contact, and not only did she say what she told us is that she wanted no contact, period. She said she went as far as to take a TPO out against the defendant because she again wanted no contact. So that's what was conveyed to our victim advocate, that she has an active TPO against the defendant because she's scared of him.
Okay, Mr. Matthews,
Just not
place your
what she
hand
told
down,
me.
sir. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you, Mr. Matthews. Let Ms. Atai speak for you. If you need to speak with her about something, I'm happy to give you that opportunity, but I don't want you to get yourself into any more trouble by saying things. People often think that what they say can be helpful, and it's not, okay? All right, so it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further contact with Ms. Penn. Stay away from the East Bridge Road address. Third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. All right, good luck to you, Mr. Matthews.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Next, Your Honor, I'm gonna go to position 21 through 24. Mr. Thomas.
Okay. Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Pepe. You have been charged. Good afternoon, sir. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003573B with theft by shoplifting, 24 CR 003576B, theft by shoplifting, 24 CR 003578B, theft by shoplifting, and 24 CR 003581B, theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor. This is a defendant's 22nd arrest with multi-state interaction in South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. The last arrest was in 2022 for theft by shoplifting. There is a 2008 arrest for 3 counts of fraudulent checks that was no-load, a 2014 felony conviction for larceny theft, and that was in Florida, a 2015 misdemeanor conviction for petite theft, and that was out of Florida, a 2019 theft by taking arrest, a 2022 theft by shoplifting arrest. There appears to be a hold from 2016 for an FTA out of Sarasota, Florida. There's one FTA in 2013, one FTA in 2014, and the defendant does meet the criteria for level 3. Nothing further.
So just to make this easy, all these incidents occurred at the Target located at 375 18th Street over at Atlantic Station. And essentially in March, May, July, and August, I believe it was last year, he entered into the Target and stole Tide to-go pens, Tide Pods, fabric softener, things of that nature. The state is asking for a $500 surety bond on each count. The asset protection there, they're very familiar with him. I believe in one of the reports, they say he's had up to 46 incidents of shoplifting. Of course, we're asking for a stay away, no weapon, drugs, or alcohol while on bond.
Okay, so if it's okay with you, Mr. Ty, it's for each charge, it's gonna be a $1,000 signature bond through the jail, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Target on 18th Street, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay,
And
Mr. Pat, go ahead, Mr. Walker.
I know it didn't come up, but just put on the record, it says that he was arrested on the 4th. He was, but that was for a charge out of the city of Atlanta. He has a separate shoplifting charge that he was being held on, and he was not released on that charge until the 8th. So just in case anybody wanted to know why it says he's been in custody for 6 days, it was on his city of Atlanta charge, and I think he took a plea on that on Friday at city of
Okay.
Atlanta.
Okay, so Mr. Pepe, I'm gonna let you out, but you have to make sure you show back up for your next court hearing, and don't go back to that Target, because if you go back, I'm not gonna let you out on a signature bond next time. You understand me?
Right, thank you. God bless.
You also, Mr. Pepe.
So, Walker, that 5th charge is from the city of Atlanta, correct?
No, I NOD'd the 5th charge.
Okay,
Yes, and I sent you a copy of it.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next is gonna be position 25, Mr. Roll. Oh, no.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rawls. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003584E with simple battery family violence. Is there a history? You are mute, Ms. Washington.
Sorry about that. This is the defendant's 8th arrest with multi-state interaction in Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. The last arrest was June 5th, 2024, for driving while license suspended. The defendant had a 2004 felony conviction for robbery and burglary out of Florida. The defendant does meet the criteria for level 2. Nothing further.
Yes, sir. In this incident, law enforcement was dispatched to 792 Argonne Avenue. They met with the victim, is Jody Rawls. Her and the defendant have a child together. That home is her home. He came over that evening. They were having a disagreement, and he essentially pushed her off the bed. We're asking for a signature bond through pretrial services, no further violent contact with the victim, 1-day anger awareness, no weapon, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. I'm not sure if Ms. Rawls is on the line, but we would sound for the victim at this time.
Ms. Jody Rawls is on the line and wishes to address the court. Okay, there you go. If you raise your right hand for me, ma'am, do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, what would you like to tell the court?
Yeah, I had no intention of having him locked up. I simply made the police report just for safety reasons. The cop actually recommended that I document it. I had no idea it would be taken up by the state. I do not fear him. He has 50-50 custody of our child. We've been great co-parents, and he needs to get home to be a co-parent to him.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, Mr. Rouse is 40 years old and he's gainfully employed as a personal trainer, and he started his business about 3 months ago, Your Honor. So his financial state is kind of like very tight because he invested a lot of money. Savings are gone to start his business, so he does not have any money to pay for the bond. So we would like to definitely request for signature on bond through jails. This happened about 5 months ago. They don't have any issues. There was no physical altercation whatsoever. And he has a total of 2 children, Your Honor. So 10 and 3 years old who are completely relying on him financially. He's been here for 7 years, and we would like to request for no further violent contact as well. Thanks.
And Your Honor, just briefly, I know I asked for no further violent contact, but I asked for it through pretrial services and one day anger awareness for a reason. We did have contact with the victim as you're aware, and she explained to our victim advocate that this is not the first time she's had to call the police because the defendant has put his hands on her. So I take the position that anger awareness course at the least would be beneficial.
Okay, it will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2, 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Jody Rawls, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next is gonna be position 26, Mr. Joe Redmond.
Good afternoon, Mr. Redmond. You've been charged in case 24CR003587F with battery. Is there a history, Ms. Washington?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the defendant's 6th arrest with multi-state interaction in Georgia and Wisconsin. The defendant's last arrest was in December of 2023 in Clayton County for an FTA. There was a 2010 arrest for battery in Milwaukee, Wisconsin that appears to be dismissed. The defendant does meet the criteria for UJR. Nothing further.
Yes, Your Honor, in this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 125 Milton Street where they met with the victim, Mr. Anthony Thornton. Him and the defendant are roommates at that location. They were having a verbal disagreement over money, I believe. The defendant attempted to take the victim's wallet. He was unsuccessful. Things turned physical where the defendant bit the victim, Mr. Anthony Thornton. We're asking for a signature bond through pretrial services and no contact with Mr. Thornton and stay away from the incident location. No weapon, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond, and a 1 day anger awareness.
Mr. Thornton is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Did your office speak with Mr. Thornton, Mr. Walker?
I had that we were unable to contact Mr. Thornton.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kim?
I believe they still have a contact together and they are living together. He is gainfully employed at in insurance industry. He's 33 years old, and he's been here in Georgia for more than 3 years. Your Honor, we would like to request for UJR, signature on bond through jail, and no further violent contact. He is educated. He graduated from high school. He does have a license for lifts operation. That's about it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Have you talked to the Mr. Thornton, Ms. Kim?
No, I was not able to talk to him.
Okay. Until someone talks to the alleged victim, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Mr. Thornton. Stay away from the Milton Street address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. If someone speaks with Mr. Thornton and he desires to have contact, I'm happy to entertain a modification. Good luck to you, Mr. Redmond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we go to position 28, Mr. Myron Say.
Good afternoon, Mr. Say. You have been charged in case 24CR003592E with theft by taking. Is there a history?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the defendant's 8th arrest. The last arrest was in April of 2022 out of Cobb County for a probation violation. The defendant received first offender treatment in Cobb County in 2021 for possession of cocaine. It does not appear that the matter was sealed. The defendant received 2 years and 6 months on probation and 6 months in confinement. There's a 2019 misdemeanor conviction for giving false name and criminal trespass, 1 FTA in 2019, 1 FTA in 2021. The defendant does meet the criteria for level 2. Nothing further.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred at the Captain D's located at 1095 Ralph David Abernathy. The defendant rushed into the restaurant, ran behind the counter, and grabbed the cash register and took off running. He was apprehended by another manager who was working on site that day. They got into an altercation of some sorts, and he threw the cash register at that manager and then took off running, but was apprehended by police across the street from the restaurant. The state is asking for a $2,500 surety bond. I stay away from the Captain D's at 1095 Ralph David Abernathy. No weapon, drugs, or alcohol while on bond.
Kim? This your case, Miss Kim?
Your Honor, I apologize. I was trying to talk to another. Can I please have the name of the client, please? I apologize.
Position 28, Mr. Say.
Yes, he is my client, Your Honor. He's qualified for public defender services. I am planning to send out social worker services because he has been residentially challenged. He has been a veteran and he went to war, Iraq war for 2 years. Because of that, he does have some MH concern. He graduated from high school. He went to 2 different technical schools, have a certification. He served at Navy. Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial or jail. And I'm still trying to find social worker to have a visit for him.
Okay, it'll be a social worker visit to assist with anything that Mr. Say may need. $5,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Captain D's on Ralph David Abernathy. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Next, we have position 29, Mr. Reginald Williams.
Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. You've been charged in case 24 CR 003593Y with theft by taking. Is there a history?
This is the defendant's 22nd arrest. The last arrest was in 2012 for burglary and a parole violation. There was a 1990 felony conviction for burglary, a 91 felony conviction for burglary, 93 felony conviction for burglary, 94 felony conviction for burglary, 2000 felony conviction for theft by taking, 2001 felony conviction for theft by taking, a 2002 conviction for theft by taking. The defendant does appear to be on probation in Fulton County for burglary and theft by taking. The case number is 12SC115209. The defendant does meet the criteria for level 2. Nothing further.
So first, I just want to say I'm aware of the history. I'm working to get a copy of the dispositions as we have to submit that as part of the transfer request, but this is his 4th theft by taking, which makes this a felony. But for purposes of today, law enforcement was dispatched to 3093 Jones Street. They met with the victim, Mr. Kevin Salvador. The defendant stole the victim's lawnmower. The state is going to be asked for a $1,500 surety bond due to the defendant's lengthy theft history. I stay away from the instant location, 3093 Jones Street. No contact with Kevin Salvador. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond.
Mr. Salvador is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Williams, is 60 years old and he has been homeless very long time. He does not have phone. However, he does have 2 brothers who have their phone numbers who can contact him, and he's trying to get some help. I am requesting for social worker services to help him out with his housing situation. He does have a high school diploma. Because of probation violation anyway, he cannot go anywhere, Your Honor. I think he has to wait a long time in jail. We would like to request for signature on bond through jail. Thank you.
$2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Stay away from 3093 Jones Street. No further contact with Mr. Salvador. Social worker visit to assist with housing. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank
Good
you.
luck to you, Mr. Williams.
Judge, could you repeat that bond amount you
Yeah,
broke
I
up?
was gonna ask the same thing.
Okay, I can. It's a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 2. You need for me to go through all of it, Ms.
No, I just
Bridgewater?
needed the bond amount.
Bond
Okay,
amount.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, I believe we have a few waivers. That's gonna be position 30. He waived his position, his appearance, I'm sorry.
Okay. That's position. You want me to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, you can do the position 30. He waived
Okay,
it.
so that's Mr. Jarvius Woodard, charged in case 24 CR 003594E with criminal trespass, simple battery against a police officer, and public indecency. Is there a history?
Yes, Your Honor, this is the 30th arrest. The last arrest appeared to be May 20th, 2024 for theft by shoplifting in Atlanta. There's a criminal trespass arrest in 2007 and 2008, a 2013 misdemeanor conviction for theft by receiving stolen property, a 2013 misdemeanor conviction for criminal trespass, 4 felony convictions prior to 2014. There also appears to be a 2023 simple battery out of Clayton County and a 2023 battery in Fulton County that was dismissed. The case number is 23 CP 222039. The defendant does appear to be on probation regarding a theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass case, and that's out of Fulton County. The case number is 23 CR 005705B. The defendant does appear to have a hold in Brunswick, Georgia for an FTA. The warrant date is January 17th, 2023. The defendant does meet the criteria for level 3. Nothing further.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the Marty Civic Center due to the defendant exposing his genitals to the other patrons at that site. He has previously been criminally trespassed from the Marty, and he's currently under a permanent suspension through next year. And when he was being arrested by Officer Raphael Anderson, he bit the officer, and that's a simple battery against a police officer charge. To the 1 count of criminal trespass, we're asking for a $500 surety. To the PI charge, we're asking for a $1,500 surety. Simple battery of a police officer, a $2,000 surety. Stay away from Marta. He has a permanent ban through next year. No contact, no violent contact with Mr. or Officer Raphael Anderson should they cross paths again. No weapon, drugs, or alcohol while on bond.
Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Woodward is 34 years old, and of course, social worker visit is required for him because of his residential challenge, and also he does need a BHET to determine whether he should be put into competence calendar or not. Your Honor, we would like to request for a signature on bond through pretrial, whichever level you seem to be appropriate. He already has a hold. Because of probation violation, I don't think he will be going to anywhere for a long time as of now. Thanks.
Criminal trespass, a $500 good bond. For the simple battery, a $1,000 good bond. For the NP public indecency, a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No further violent contact with Officer Anderson, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Well, we want to do the BHET or?
Well, since Ms. Kim requested it, and he's going to be, yes, BHET. Okay, thank you, Mr. Walker.
Thank you.
Who do we have next?
And the other waiver is position 16, Your Honor. That's Ms. Lampley.
And Your Honor, I wanted either a breakout room or to stop the YouTube.
Okay, we can stop the YouTube if that'd be more convenient.
Okay, Judge.
That's fine. I don't think it's gonna be that interesting.